Hi, and welcome back to Singles Talk. Well, now we're going to talk about the economic decisions, the real dollars and cents of it, making your mind up. Let's talk about that first date, an ideal amount to spend. Now, I know before you say, well, I never know how much I'm going to spend, everybody has some idea what they either would spend or, in the case of where someone else is paying, what you would consider a decent amount to spend on a first date. So we're going to go to you first.
Gee, what a surprise.
As scary as that is, what do you consider an ideal amount to spend on a first date?
I would say my threshold is, I don't think you can get in for under 50, quite honestly. So I'd say
But if you could, you would?
Yeah.
Of course.
Okay, 50. So that's like 25 a piece, kind of.
Yeah, a 50's I would say a decent dinner, a moderate dinner.
Okay. Cindy.
I would say probably more towards $75.
So if you went out with someone whose idea of spending 50, you think 75 is good. Would that affect? Be honest. Would you think, well, gosh, I can't believe you took me to the cafeteria?
If it was a cafeteria, most definitely.
Movie and no popcorn.
How about 75 if you use a 2-for-1 coupon?
No, that would work.
I mean, would that bother you?
No, that would not.
It would.
Yeah, that would.
If you had a good time.
If you had a good time, and it's all on the date, it's all about the date, really, not how much you're spending.
Okay. What about you? Ideal, Jeff.
It depends on what are you doing for the date. If you're just going to have dinner, then that's going to be 50. If you're going to go somewhere after, that's another 30 or 40. It depends on whether it's a whole evening or just dinner. And I guess you have to have your limits for each of those. 50 for dinner, 30 for this. And it can get up to probably about 125 just for a couple hours.
Maxine?
Hey, it wouldn't matter to me because if it's a first date, we're communicating, we're getting to know each other. So I love hot dogs. I'm a gourmet cook, but believe me, I love hot dogs. So it wouldn't really matter.
So you can do it either way.
I can do it either way.
Okay.
Exactly.
Well, we talked to Tony Brown, who has actually the longest running series on PBS. His show is Tony Brown's Journal, and he talks a lot about the economics of life, but we talked to him specifically about the economics of dating, and this is what he told us.
In an idealistic world, money shouldn't matter. In a world of human beings with frailties, money does matter. It is not true that money is not important, and what I do say is that although I don't rate money as the most important thing in the world, I do rate it right up there with oxygen, and I'd like to see somebody breathe without it. That's the way I, in a comedic way, make the point that economics is very, very important. A woman said to me recently, she said, well, what about my visions and my dreams? I said, visions and dreams without money turn into nightmares. I think men have been socialized to become the providers and the producers, and it really is a threat to many men, if not most men, if they are not the person who earns the majority of money. I think to women, their socialization, of course, is changing, but the old traditional role of women was the man will support me and take care of me. These two things are changing. I have a radio show in New York. One day I have relationships, and the conversation often goes to how do I adjust? The woman I date has more money than I, or how do I adjust? The guys I'm dating don't have as much money as I have. So it does matter, and it does take an adjustment. But two people sit down, and one woman may be very comfortable with buying dinner and saying, I make more than this guy and I like him. He may be comfortable with that. Some men and some women aren't comfortable with that arrangement at all. If one of the partners doesn't feel comfortable with the economic status of the other partner, it will show up somewhere in the relationship. I think anything that happens between two people that they don't bring out in the open affects them in some area, in some aspect of their relationship.
Got Tony Brown. That was a great interview. I know that I have a question in the cafe, so let's go and see what they have to say.
Okay, my question is for Joe.
Right.
We're talking about the prices people spend on gifts and the expectations that go along with it. But reverse the situation. You've been dating a girl for, say, a month, and she buys you a $500 necklace or a watch. What kind of expectations are you thinking that she might have in that case?
Well, it depends on her. economic status of, some people can afford those type of gifts regularly and some people can't. And I'm sure after getting to know her, I would have an idea whether for her that's regular or whether for her that's extreme. And then I would probably have an idea from that, if it's extreme, then she probably is trying to invest in something.
But would that make you, Joe? Would that make you feel like, what if you don't like her that much? I mean, she's okay, but you're casually dating her and she's purchased this very expensive gift. Would you feel like either I have to give it back, or would you feel pressure to make more of the relationship? What would you do?
If I didn't think that things were going to work out, I would probably consider giving it back because I would probably become real busy and wouldn't have that much time for her.
Before or after you gave her the gift?
I don't know. It's hard to say. It depends
so
on exactly what it is and
If she
how
can
much I
afford it.
like it.
And if she,
it's a couple of
and
things
if she could afford it.
Yeah, and if she can afford it, it's a couple of things you would really have to consider.
What about you, Steve? If a woman purchased an expensive, lavish gift for you, and you didn't really, you were casually dating her, didn't really care a lot, what would you do?
I think it would make me feel uncomfortable, and I think it's both ways. I think it would make a woman feel uncomfortable if you did that. If I spent on a really nice gift, and she wasn't at the same level emotionally that I was, I think she'd be uncomfortable as well. And
What about you?
I agree with Steve this time.
now we're making progress.
This is a good thing. So would you keep the gift or give it back?
Depending on where the relationship was.
Maxine?
Keep the ring and, keep the diamond and give back the ring. A gift is a gift.
See, I agree with you. I think a gift is a gift. And if you truly give a gift because you want the person to have it, then
Exactly.
why should I give it back to you?
That's right.
So, I do. That's what I think that. I think that if a
Give
gift
the
is a
setting,
gift.
but keep the diamond.
That's right, Exactly, exactly. How equal do you all think that men and women feel in terms of the amount of money spent on a gift? Like, do you think that it's equal in terms of the way they think?
I don't think it's equal in the beginning. I think it may equate itself as the relationship develops, but in the beginning, no. It's
Heavily
not
slated
equal.
towards the man.
Absolutely.
I know. When we come back out of the break, we're going to talk more to our panel, and we have questions from the cafe, and we have our internet portion coming up, so stay tuned.
What legacy will you pass on to your daughters and their daughters? Your smile, your strength and determination. What if you could leave them and every woman a healthier life? If you're aged 60 to 79, consider joining the Women's Health Initiative and help us find ways to prevent breast and colon cancers, heart disease and osteoporosis for generations to come. Call 1-800-54-WOMEN.
Hi, and welcome back to Singles Talk. We're adding up the cost of dating and being single. I have a question in the cafe.
This question is actually for the ladies. Is there a certain dollar figure that you attach to different levels of commitment in a relationship?
Cindy?
No, I don't believe so.
What do you say?
Not at all. Not at all. I think that if two people enjoy each other, money's is secondary. You have to have money. You can't live on love. But if we're talking about spending for the sake of spending, just because I feel good about telling my friends, hey, he spent X number of dollars, no thank you.
Well, and let's talk too about financial status, because if you're dating someone who has the wherewithal to fly you to Paris, that you have to also remember he could fly somebody else to Paris too.
Sure.
So, maybe for him to fly you to Paris, it was no sacrifice.
Right.
So it doesn't mean that he's committed to you because he flew you to Paris.
Not at all.
You know, that's I think when you I'll ask you this, Cindy and Maxine, because this is for the ladies first. When you see a man and start dating him, you know, do you size up his financial status as equal to yours, or do you size it up outside of what you do for a living?
Outside of what?
And I'm assuming that you size it up because, like you said, you can't live on love. Everybody,
Right,
you know,
you
matters,
have to.
and it matters.
Outside.
Okay, so really, what you do has no reflection on
What he does,
Exactly.
no.
What do you say next?
Well, you know, you move in certain circles. We all do.